Hello, and welcome to another episode of Focus on Outcomes, where we interview and discuss what organizations are doing in their day-to-day life and how they impact the communities that we live and serve. Excited to have a new co-host, Candace Myers, joining us today.
Yeah, I'm usually behind the camera, so this is a little off, but we'll see how it goes.
Levity's marketing manager. Great to have you on this side of the camera and the microphone. And we're excited to have a new guest.
Yeah. So Sarah, welcome to Focus on Outcomes.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So you're an internationally recognized leader at the intersection of education, technology, and AI strategy. Your current role is Director of Applied AI Lab at WCTC, or Waukesha County Technical College. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about WCTC and your role there?
Yes. Thank you so much, Candace. I'm so excited to be here today. Yeah, so my role is very new. The lab actually hasn't even been around for a year. So really exciting.
I didn't realize that.
I know, right? It feels like it's been open for 10 years and then 10 days simultaneously.
Yeah, right.
And a little bit of context, I've been in my role for just over 60 days. So I feel the same. So I'm going to say that just to preface, there's a lot that I'm learning and there's a lot that we're going to be, doing differently and changing and evolving and growing. And as I like to say, we're building the plane as we're flying it. So that's my little preface before I answer anything on the show today. But a little bit about my role. So the Applied AI Lab has been not even a year old and really was started to help small and medium-sized businesses in Wisconsin, specifically southeastern Wisconsin, learn how to apply AI and to stay competitive and to build a talent pipeline. Since many of us who work in technology and especially in AI know, this is a big game changer. This really has been rocking the technology world and subsequently everything. I don't know anyone who hasn't heard of AI in some capacity these days, right? Although we know AI has been around for a while. So what we're really doing is trying to figure out how do we support our economy and how do we support our community in Wisconsin with AI? Because we really do believe at Waukesha County Technical College that this is going to change everything. And we really want to be on the forefront of that. We don't want to fall behind. Because a big driver of this is we know that the workforce is shrinking. We know that enrollment is shrinking from a college perspective too. Also for high schools. High school enrollment is shrinking. The population is overall declining. And so we're thinking, 10 years out, even less, how is that going to impact the economy? How is that going to impact education? How is that going to impact the workforce? And we're trying to prepare for that as much as we can and use all the resources that we have at our disposal to do so. And so we're kind of hedging our big bets on AI. We really think AI is going to help improve efficiencies, show new industries potentially, and new inventions, new discoveries. We really think that's going to be a great way to kind of harness the power of our existing workforce to augment it, to make sure that we stay competitive with this changing landscape. Mm-hmm. So it's a big ask, right? It's a big kind of type mission. And really what we're trying to do in the lab is to really figure out how we're going to improve our economy and our community through technology.
Yeah. Well, and you said you're early on in the role. Do you want to give us a little bit about your background, but then also what inspired you to take on the role?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So I've been working in higher education for over 15 years, which feels wild to say. But I've had a lot of experience working at really large public institutions like the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I was the director of critical infrastructure and cyber infrastructure there, among many other roles. And then also working very large private institutions like Stanford University, where I was in charge of technology strategy at an institution that size, and also working in AI. And really what brings me here to WCTC and back to Wisconsin is Wisconsin's my hometown. I grew up in just north of Milwaukee, and I love Wisconsin. My family's here, my friends are here, my community's here, and you just can't keep me away from old fashions. And fish fries, all of it. I just crave
Cheese
it.
curds, all the things.
Yes, all the things, right? All those fun things.
Yes.
And, I also recently completed my master's degree at Cornell University in public administration and public policy. My thesis was on AI policy. I was invited to the White House last year and did some really cool things with that degree as well. So this role is really kind of this culmination and swirling of a lot of different talents of mine working in public sector and education, getting a degree in public policy, public administration, and then really having this passion for startups and entrepreneurs and building business since my husband is an entrepreneur. And that's actually something that we do in the lab. And really, this role is kind of this swirling of education, of public-private partnerships, of starting startups and helping them grow, is specifically focused on AI. And this role is the perfect place to do that. And that's really what we're doing in the lab. And I know we'll get to a little bit later in the show about that piece. But what really brought me here is I wanted to be back in Wisconsin. I love what WCTC is doing. I think it's a very bold vision, very innovative, very exciting. And there's some amazing people that I'm working with. And just to give you a little story about like how different this is when I was interviewing for this role, I interviewed with President Rich Barnhouse, who came in to, give me a quick little interview at the end. And, he introduced himself to me and said, "Hi, I'm Dr. Barnhouse, and I'm here to change higher ed."
Oh,
and I really
awesome.
resonate with that because I've been working in higher ed for 15 years, and all I've wanted to do is change it for the better, to do the greatest good. That's totally my mission, core philosophy. When he introduced himself and said that, I felt like this is a place where we're actually going to do something. We're actually going to make that change. We're not just, talking about it. We're walking our talk too. Mm-hmm. And that's how it started. And I'm here 60 days in, and it's flying by.
Yes. Oh, that's great. I know. You've described making Wisconsin the Silicon Prairie, which I'm obsessed with, that whole concept. Can you share a little bit about what that vision looks like and how the Applied AI Lab will play into that vision?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that phrase too. And for me, it really comes from working in Silicon Valley proper at Stanford University, then also being at Cornell University on the East Coast, bi-coastal influence there, obviously a lot of tech influences and tech experiences there as well. But the Silicon Prairie idea and vision really is focused on creating tech hubs outside of those two locations where most folks typically think to look for tech talent. I grew up in Wisconsin. I know we have amazing, smart people here. I see you both are nodding. You get it. Yes, like we're builders here. We do really cool things here. We are smart. We are committed. We are very resourceful. And I think often the Midwest gets looked over for talent. And I really hate that.
Yeah.
So, I really feel like at the core of that vision is we have really great talent here. We have great ideas. And the whole concept of Silicon Prairie is those kind of tech talent and tech hubs don't have to be restricted to only the East Coast and the West Coast. They can be anywhere. And I think if we pull the right people together, like we are even right now, we can start building that. And there was a recent Brookings report that was released just this month, actually in July, that was talking about how are we going to prepare for kind of this next wave of technology, this next era, if you will. And of course, it's specifically focused on AI. And it was highlighting different hubs around the continental US for where those kind of AI innovation hubs, Silicon Prairies, if you will, might be. And happily, Wisconsin is on there. Actually, Madison is identified as an emerging tech hub center, which is really exciting. And Milwaukee is just lagging behind a little bit, but still we're on the map. And I think that's saying more than even maybe 15 years ago, even 10 years ago. And I really see us getting there. And that's really my vision for the lab, is to continue bringing that talent, to continue fostering that, to continue building those pipelines, to really invest in, making this an innovation hub really at the lab, and to really kind of underscore that competitive advantage that I think we have as Wisconsin, but just finding a way to pull everyone together so those arrows are all pointing in the same direction to make that concerted push.
And give the people who have that desire, the knowledge, an opportunity to be able to do what they want to do here.
Exactly, yeah, and a safe space to tinker and to have access to tools, technology, talent, resources. A lot of the things that folks typically assume come very freely in places like Silicon Valley. I believe we can do that too, right? It's almost the if you build it, they will come philosophy, however, with some intention behind it. And that intention is, let's really focus on a few certain things like fostering startups, fostering entrepreneurs, really giving them the space and the resources they need to be successful, and doing that intentionally instead of just hoping they'll figure it out, right? Hope is not a plan.
So speaking of those small businesses and the startups, how is the Applied AI Lab helping those organizations and bringing that community together?
Yeah. So in my first 60 days in my role, I've conducted almost 10 AI workshops and training sessions with small and medium-sized businesses across the state. I've gone as far as Manitowoc now, and I want to give a shout out to the folks in Manitowoc. I loved it there. Great folks, really interested, really curious. But a lot of what I'm doing is like boots on the ground work right now. I'm actually going into many small and medium-sized businesses and spending multiple hours with them, multiple sessions with them, teaching them about AI. It can be anything from kind of like AI 101, teaching them the foundations, the basics, talking about responsible AI, how to use AI for productivity, anything like that, all the way up to how do you actually develop an AI strategy for your business? What does that look like? How do you make sure it's not divorced from your actual company's strategy, right?
Yeah.
How are you making sure those things are aligned? So I've been doing a lot of kind of boots on the ground work right now with those trainings and workshops. And of course, coming from WCTC, being an educational institution, that's our bread and butter, the education component, right? So that's a big one. Another thing is that we offer a space, a lab, right? We have supercompute resources, which we're really excited about offering as a service, hopefully this fall, which, is that next step for a lot of these businesses after I come in and train them and they have an idea for what AI is, how they might want to use it, some problems that they want to solve. Well, the next thing typically requires some type of a compute resource or some additional help. So we can also offer even consulting services for folks who might just need a laser coach, if you will, a laser coaching session to say, here's what you should do, here's what you shouldn't do, here's some tools you should consider, here's some tools you shouldn't consider, which is what I more often than not spend time talking about. So that's a good thing too. And we also have resources in the lab for folks to use outside of supercompute resources. We have a lot of meeting events where we kind of bring birds of a feather conversation, where we bring other folks around the community to come and talk and share about what they're doing, how they're using AI. So a lot of kind of like that peer-to-peer learning workshop styles, if you will. I'm going to keep going on and on. We have so many things that we offer, which is so exciting. We also offer some accelerator programs. I know we'll get to that in a bit, so I'll leave that there. And those are specifically focused on entrepreneurs and startups and, investing them and incubating them. We also offer internship experiences and capstone experiences for students who are doing AI degree programs. WCTC was the first community college in the state to offer an official and approved AI degree program. And we're launching a few more programs this fall, in addition to an advanced technical certificate. So very much on the bleeding edge of that. So the lab really serves as a place where folks can kind of tinker and come together and start applying what they're learning in the classroom, what they're learning from their peers in the local business area, what they're learning just around, and coming together and learning and tinkering and talking about it and sharing what they're doing too.
And then I'm sure you also touch on those like ethical and responsible use cases for AI. How do you kind of stay ahead of all of that as things are just so rapidly changing all the time?
Yeah, I'm laughing because that's like the eternal question, right? Like, how do you stay on top of it? And it's tough, right? I mean, I spend my entire career in this. I've been in this world for 15 years, and it's tough. Every morning, typically what I do personally is I keep myself up to date by reading newsletters and just getting things sent to my inbox so I can just get quick little bites of what's going on, look for those signals, and then dive into different articles. But I get 150 emails every morning just with all the different things that I've signed up for to keep myself up to date, which is, it's impossible to stay up to date on all those things. I think what really helps also is just talking to folks, getting involved, presenting at conferences, staying in the loop, those types of things, staying up to speed on what's happening, asking about what's happening. YouTube has great videos, TikTok, Instagram, right? All of that type of stuff. But that's just me personally. I think institutionally, we have a lot of great folks on our team who are doing different things, but still in the same realm. So we're all looking for signals in different spaces. Like on our academic side, we have our dean at WCTC who runs those AI programs, Allie Jerger. She's amazing. She has a great pulse on what's happening in the classroom and what students are asking for. I have a great pulse on what small and medium-sized businesses are asking for. I also have a great pulse on what higher education is doing as a whole, just having been involved for 15 years. So that's an example of how we're kind of covering the ground from different angles and thinking not only as how we as WCTC are staying ahead, but also how we as individuals are staying ahead. And that all comes together, which means we're meeting regularly. We have internal biweekly meetings where we talk about what's happening with AI, where we share things. And, it's a challenge to stay up to speed on it. And we're not perfect, but we try to stay as engaged with the community and as involved as possible so that when things come up, we're ahead of it.
Sure.
Yeah, just trying to stay caught up a little bit. I mean, you guys are doing a ton just to be aware and to educate the people who are interested, and through that communication interaction, the whole set of knowledge just continues to build.
Exactly. Yeah. And I learned so much from the folks that I'm working with too, right? And they learn a lot from me. It's certainly reciprocal, which I'm really grateful for too, because that helps us inform how we're teaching, what we're teaching, the curriculum, how we're changing it. we're on the ground making sure that we have a pulse. And I think that's really like our secret sauce is we have our ear to the ground. We have folks involved in the lab who, and actually at WCTC, who are plugged into the community and plugged into the right places in the right circles. And I think that really helps us too. We're not just hearing second, third hand. We're the ones who are sometimes speaking and producing and serving as the thought leaders in some ways. And I think that really helps us stay on top of things and adds to our credibility too.
Yeah.
I think the word applied in the title of the lab is critical. It's not a theoretical AI lab.
Right.
It's being applied. How are people using it? How are they building it? The real world stuff, which is, I think, the exciting part of all of this. The theory is awesome and it's exciting and scary all at the same time.
It is, yes.
How it's being applied and what's being built and the thought process of those people going through it has got to be really cool to be part of.
It's incredible because I'm used to the theory side. Like I came from Stanford, I came from UW-Madison. There's a lot of, big theory there, which I agree with you. It's important to understand that. Honestly, I loved the math aspect of a lot of it too.
Sure.
I studied that a lot in my master's program as well. So that was a fun little side trek to take also. And I find it fascinating. And at the same time, it's really tough to think about how does this like theoretical side look in practice and in person, right? If I'm the owner of a manufacturing company, okay, well, that's great. I'm glad that we have, algorithms and that these things exist, but how do I benefit from that? And I think those connections have been very loose, right? There's not a lot of connective tissue between those two concepts. And I think what we're really trying to do at the lab is to be that connective tissue and to show folks also that it doesn't have to be as scary as it might seem. And we really try to reduce the fear factor, and not in a way that negates the real concerns. I mean, my focus in my master's program was on AI policy because I'm so concerned, frankly, about the potential risks and challenges and harms that can come from AI. And I want to do something about it. And I think we can. But, what I've noticed too is a lot of folks are so fearful that they just use that fear as, something that holds them back from exploring, from tinkering, from trying. And really the lab is meant to be a place to tinker. It's a place where you can come in and safely explore and learn in a way that's not going to expose you or increase risk or anything like that. It's a place where you can come and do this safely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
That's great. And I know you teased a little bit about the accelerator programs, so I do want to take a second to kind of chat through what those are.
Yes.
So I know there's G Beta and G Alpha. Do you want to just kind of give an example of, the types of businesses, small to medium or startups, that would join one of those accelerator programs and how the lab helps them?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Yes, I've teased this long enough. So backing up a little bit, the lab and WCTC has a partnership with Generator, which is a venture capital firm and accelerator firm nationally. So they're not just local in Madison and Milwaukee. They have offices all across the continental U.S., actually even in Alaska. So I stand corrected. But we found an amazing partnership with them because their focus is all on finding startups, right? And helping those nurture and grow. And especially from the Wisconsin perspective, they really want to help find talent here in Wisconsin, invest in them, and help them grow. So very much aligned with our core philosophy here too at WCTC. And admittedly, we found so much talent in Waukesha County, more than you would expect, right? It's kind of like, wait, I didn't think that would be there, but we found folks even in Wales who were doing really cool things, and we're really excited about that. And Generator has a tried and true approach of finding that talent. So partnering with them has been a wonderful opportunity for us to really host these accelerator programs, which are focused on building AI entrepreneurs and AI startups. And really the kind of companies we're looking at are folks who aren't necessarily building a product or something on top of a large language model, for example, but really using or building AI from scratch and having just AI companies. And I say that a little bit loosely because we're hoping that we can unturn some rocks here in Waukesha County and frankly the entire state of Wisconsin to see what might we find with new AI industries potentially, what might actually be invented here in our backyard, right? Mm-hmm. And really that's what the accelerator programs are for. So we have G Alpha and then G Beta. So G Alpha is what I like to say takes a company from 0 to 1. You might have a concept or an idea in your head, but you might need some help kind of figuring out what that framework of a company might look like, what your value proposition might be, those types of things. Okay. That's a 4-week program that's free, that's designed to help folks take their idea to some type of a concept.
Okay.
And then leave the program with, kind of a clearer business plan, an idea about how to pitch your actual company that you're developing and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then we also offer G Beta, which is taking a company from 1 to 2. So you already have a business concept, you might already even have a product designed, and then you're trying to figure out, how do I get additional funding or resources to really put that polish on to make this more of a bona fide business that we can launch, that we can sell products, that we can get even more traction. Sometimes these companies come to us with existing traction, which is great, but our goal with G Beta is to make sure that they leave with some potential investment opportunities as well. These are both not investment accelerators. They're free. They're meant to just give folks resources. But once you complete G Beta, you're very primed to participate in any investment accelerator across the country. This whole concept is very, very new for me, at least. Working in higher ed, I've really never seen a partnership like this done, and I came from Stanford.
Yeah.
So this is really exciting to see, not only for higher ed, but also for a technical college. It's very new, really exciting to have that type of partnership, and it's entirely focused on supporting Waukesha County folks. It's free. It's meant for anyone in the area who is interested in AI or has an AI idea to come and learn about how you can take that idea from an idea to something real, or how you can take something that you've already created to something that you could potentially scale across the country and maybe even beyond.
Well, do we want to switch gears
So we
here?
switch to rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire,
All right.
unfocused outcomes.
Yep, unfocused, unsponsored. If anyone's interested in sponsoring, we'd love to cover that. We're just going to go through a couple questions. First thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Feel free to let us know, and we might have some follow-up questions about your answers. What is the first app you checked this morning?
First app I checked this morning, weather.
Oh, that's
Weather
a good
app.
one.
Well,
That's
we
a
had
good
this
first
heat
check.
wave and heat warning. And I hate the heat. I live in Wisconsin for a reason. I love the cold.
Well, then you're comfortable in this room, because
I
holy
am.
cow.
Oh,
I love it.
I always
Yeah.
run hot, and today I'm like, can hang some meat in here.
Okay, come on now. I tried to pump it down
No, it's
because
great.
usually you're
It's
telling
great.
me it's too hot in
It's
here.
good. It's good.
You invited
No,
me
I'm
into your
just
meat
trying.
locker.
Right.
Yeah, we did. And here we are.
Not AI. What is your favorite board game?
I wouldn't say board game, but more cards. My husband and I love playing cards. Every time we go to a restaurant or anywhere, we always have a deck of cards with us and play something.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what's your go-to game at a restaurant?
It depends. Anything. Typically something easy like Rummy 500. But we've recently been trying euchre and other things. So it depends, right? It depends on how many cocktails I've had.
Yeah. All right. So what's your go-to snack?
Well, this is going to be really obvious. A piece of cheese, typically.
Oh,
Cheese, some type of a nut, and like a dried fruit.
Okay.
Oh, like
Yeah.
a mini charcuterie.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
here for it.
What if you're on a road trip?
If I'm on a road trip, then I would say probably one of those like Chomps beef sticks. Just something about it. I'm so Wisconsin. Like meat and
I know,
cheese.
I love it. I almost put one of the rapid fire questions in here is like, how do you like your cheese curds, fresh and squeaky or deep
Fried.
fried? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Might as well throw it out there. We're talking cheese. Like,
Can your answer be both?
no, because it's your favorite. Like if you had to,
You had
pick,
to pick one.
This is so situational.
I
That's
know.
fair. If you're at like the farmer's market in Madison, walking around,
Fresh and
a
squeaky.
fresh curd,
Right.
It's refreshing, squeaky. Then you can
Right.
follow up with your Stella's cheese bread.
And if you had a burger, you wouldn't want to have a fresh cheese curd. It'd have to be
Yes.
fried, because that
I
would be a
guess
weird
you're right.
texture thing. So
It would
it's
be,
situational.
Situational
Okay,
indeed.
it's fair. I'll take it.
Speaking of, what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
A glass of wine, hanging out with my husband, watching something on TV, or going for a walk.
So you have a glass of wine, watch TV, or go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go for a walk with wine. Little-
I've
little-
never
like that.
taken a
A little
roadie,
walk.
but
Yeah.
I like your
little-
idea.
A little walking beverage. This sounds like it came from experience. Do you walk with wine in the evenings?
Not typically.
Okay.
But I have.
But
Allegedly.
you know, you
Allegedly.
could get like a mini can of wine or a little can because
yeah.
All right. So now we also have a good takeaway.
Yes.
And then you co-host a podcast.
I do.
Who's your dream guest, dead or alive?
Okay, dream guest, and this comes with a little bit of a story. Dream guest would be Brene Brown.
Okay.
I think she's amazing. Love her attitude, love her research, love everything about her. Why I'm saying this is because I won an international award last year in higher education technology, the Rising Star Award. One of the biggest honors you can win in my profession. Thank you. It was a huge honor. And Brene Brown was actually the keynote speaker at the conference. And so she was on stage and like introduced us, and she was backstage cheering me on before I went on the stage to accept this award in front of like 10,000 people. It was just
unreal.
Such an honor. She's incredible. We had her featured as the keynote speaker too. So hearing her answers and hearing her talk to, folks in my profession across the globe was a huge inspiration and just incredible. So I'd love to have her on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even like Kevin Bacon's 6 connection thing. That's a real possibility. Well, before we wrap today, thank you for that great answers and a great action item for the walking wine option.
Yes. Let's all take that action item.
I think maybe that's a startup option. I don't think there's AI associated.
I like that.
We could figure it out.
Like a walking wine vessel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We'll incubate that in the lab. We'll have some type of AI application infused to that. Yeah.
It Calories can just being burned.
I'm sure one of our listeners will take that and run with it faster than we do.
I certainly hope so. And if you do, come visit us at WCTC. We have a place to incubate you.
So before we wrap today, tell our listeners a little bit about your podcast and where people can learn more about you.
Sure. So 2 things, Sarah. So I currently co-host a podcast, and I'm going to be launching a new one. I know, right? So the first podcast that I co-host right now is called Rising Voices. And it's in partnership with EDUCAUSE, which is the nonprofit association where I won my Rising Star Award from. It's for folks in higher education technology. And the entire purpose of the show is to really help create a talent pipeline of folks within higher education technology. Typically, we struggle to have folks working in higher education. It doesn't pay as much as private sector. It's not as sexy sometimes. And so as I was talking about earlier at the beginning of the show, the workforce challenge is impacting our sector a lot. So really what we were inspired to do is to figure out, how do we get to the younger folks? How do we get to some of the recent college graduates, recent high school graduates, and keep them interested or get them interested in a career in higher education, whether it be in technology or elsewhere. But how do we get folks just to be interested and to stay? And we found, at least from our experience, personal experience too, is when you feel seen and invited and, accepted and recognized in your community, you're more likely to stay. And so we started the show to help young professionals feel recognized and feel seen in an industry that, can be difficult to make them feel seen in. And the whole purpose of the show is just to elevate and amplify the voices of young professionals in higher education and to help show what they're doing and how they're actually contributing to our profession and what that can look like. And of course, bringing in folks who are maybe more senior in their roles and helping them to have a little bit of talent pipelining and mentoring opportunities along the way. So we love it. It's really exciting. And then the other show that we'll be launching from WCTC will be an AI-focused podcast. So we should have our first episode out in fall. We're really excited for it. Lots of new things coming with that. But really the goal is to be talking about what we're doing in the lab, showcasing some of our partnerships, things that we're just learning about, hearing about, and also to your question earlier, as a way to stay up to speed on trends, right?
Yeah.
Figuring out not only what's happening locally in Wisconsin, but what's happening nationally, internationally, and kind of bringing all of that to bear in one place as well. So just another resource that we would hope to offer folks too.
Sure.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, thank you so much again for your willingness to participate today. It was such a pleasure having you and good to catch up again.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.